Okay, that is better. That is better. Okay, okay. So the OBS down here. We'll figure all this out. There's music. Music's going. You can see me. I'm going to turn my air conditioner on. Tell me if the air conditioner makes it really bad. It's warm here in Michigan. Where do I get my own stream? There must be a place. Oh, here we go. There we go. Must be a place. Oh, there goes OBS. Gee, there we go. These jammy jams is in the background, so I'm good about that. I finally can hear myself. I can hear myself, kind of figuring this out. Oh, there goes OBS. Okay, I actually think it's working. But now I gotta find this darn URL. There's gotta be a share button somewhere. Can you hear my air conditioner? Ooh, I bet that's the share button right there. Hi, Sarvesh. Hi, Sarvesh. Oh, thanks, Hector, for the black air conditioning. It'll make my whole life a lot more comfortable, and I can do this longer. And so, hello, everybody, and welcome to. Oh, I gotta put this one more place. Hang on. I gotta tell one more group of people that I'm streaming. Hang on a sec. Let's see. So I'm looking for people in this stream who know React, because I'm really confused about React. Let me go find my tweet so I can hand it to this guy. Down square on me there. Okay. So, hello everybody and welcome to the stream. I'm gonna have to trim all that early stuff off. We got some people here. So hello everybody. Most everybody is here. So most of you are coming from one of my courses, pi4e.com, or interested in my new course like Sarvesh. And Sarvesh, I can't thank you enough for all the stuff that you're doing. Sarvesh is helping build my book here. Not my book, actually, Carnegie and Ritchie's book, and we're just going to license it. And so a lot of you are, coming from that. And so one of the key things to this technology that I built is called Sugi. And you will see, I better log in first. You will see this word Sugi all over the place when you are using my stuff, like lessons about how to get out of the world. And so there's this everything I do here and all this stuff that makes it so that these things work with Coursera, Canvas, and Sakai, they all are based on this piece of software that I built called Sugi. It's open source, and the GitHub for it is GitHub Sugi project. So I'm going to need to make a little document. Repos. So that's the Sugi project, and I'm currently working on a new thing, and that's the Sugi React effort. So all the Sugi tools, like the auto graders and stuff. So if I look at, let's go to GitHub. What it is? Sugi tools. Arg. So there's this Sugi tools, and like the classic thing that the first tool everyone ever builds is an attendance tool, so that you can put a code in. So I can probably add down here. This attendance tool is a thing where the teacher can put in a code. Oh, okay, teacher can put in a code, and then what was that code again? 1212. And the students are asked for the code 1212, record their attendance, then we go back to the teacher, and the teacher sees that Sue attended and what Sue's IP address was, right? And so this is my tool, and if you look at the source code to this tool, you will see that it is in PHP. And I built my own sort of widget spec. Basically says this is how you write a tool to work inside of Sugi. And I've been using PHP, and of course, if you want to learn PHP, go to a4e.com, and so this is the PHP class that will prepare you. I mean, part of the reason I built a4e.com was to teach people how to build Sugi tools. And if I was going to do an advanced PHP class, you can almost see, as if I was going to keep on going after the end of a4e.com, I was going to teach people how to do Sugi and that kind of thing. So I've been working on this for, if we look at, let's say, Sugi project, Sugi itself, you'll see that I've been working on this project for a very, very, very long time. Oh, come on, get up. There you go. So 2014 through 2021, you can see I've been pretty busy working on this. So that's 7 years I've been building this. And I just wish everyone would learn PHP. I love PHP. It's ugly. You know, you've seen me do the steampunk professor. See if that finds me. No. Charles Severance. Yeah, so you've seen this, right? Steampunk professor. Facebook. It's on Facebook. Oh, I hate Facebook. Right. So whatever. You see the steampunk. I'm gonna put my own Facebook on the stream. That's foolish. But Charles Severance steampunk. So I love PHP, and you know I'm this this character is my steampunk me, right? And I just wish that everyone would learn to use PHP, but I can't convince everybody to use PHP. So I'm trying to figure out how to use React, and so I am. So you ask if I can teach you React. I have always hated React, and I always promised I would never teach React. But I think there are better ways to build web applications than React, but everybody's using it. And so I kind of have had in the last month, I've kind of had this epiphany, and that maybe the reasons that I dislike React are equivalent to the reasons why everyone dislikes PHP. And PHP is crude but effective. It's not the most elegant solution. It's not the prettiest solution. But it's awesome because of how fast it is, how efficient it is, how cheap it is to run, how high it scales. PHP is built for one thing and one thing only, and it ain't perfect. And I love it. And I realized that React had all the things I dislike about React are the exact things that people dislike about PHP. It's crude, it's not elegant, it's nasty, it's run by Facebook. Actually, PHP came from Facebook in all of its history. Rasmus Leerdorf worked for Facebook for a while, invested a ton of money in PHP. And so I kind of concluded that the new crude but effective way to build applications is React, and I should just get over myself. Get over myself where I'm like, React is crap. I still think React is crap, but I'm going to use it. And so, Climax Pro videos. I am going to learn React, and when the time comes, I am going to teach a React class. I have several classes I got to teach before that. One of them, of course, is I'm going to teach C this fall. I want to teach Java after that, and at some point, React is now in my list. But the prerequisite is I actually need to know React, and this is an interesting thing about me, okay? And that is, you know, a lot of you think that I'm an okay teacher. And the reason I'm an okay teacher is because I am a medium skill programmer. You look at me like, oh, there's Dr. Chuck. He works at the university. He's got a computer science PhD, and that means he's a great programmer. I got 50 people who are friends of mine who are way better programmers than me. And what I bring to a project, including like the Sakai project, I bring the fact that I am not a great programmer. I'm just not a great programmer. And so, because I'm not a great programmer, I insist that things be simple enough for me to understand them. And so when I'm dealing with something new, like React, I am furious because I don't know it, and it's so obtuse and stupid and crazy, and I just want to, and then what happens is when I learn it, I remember what confused me and what made me hate React, and then I can teach that to you. Because if I can know something, I can teach something because I'm not a genius. I know so many people who are geniuses, and I am not one of those. I am a very hard worker, and I'm clever, and I'm lazy. Right? I'm a hard worker who's lazy. I want things to be simple and clear for me, and I want to be able to write myself really good notes so I don't forget things, right? And so when I'm writing good notes and I don't forget things, then I actually have made it so I can teach you. So the way I learn is I learn to be a basic React programmer, not an advanced React programmer. And so what I am doing here in this live is I am not going to teach you React. You are going to teach me React in this because I don't know React. I've done some stuff. What you're going to see is like 4 days of work, and you're going to like say, oh, that Chuck is pretty smart. I've been actually fighting with React for a long time, and finally in the last 4 days I got something working. So I am also lazy. Lazy is smart. I had a dear friend, Tony, he told me, work smarter, not harder. Don't work so hard. So what I do is I work smarter and harder, and then I get a lot of stuff done. Anurag, can I teach us data structures and algorithms? I'm probably not going to do that. I am not going to teach a class that would be equivalent. Nothing I will ever teach will be equivalent to what you get in a computer science degree. I will, in the C class, C programming for everybody, I will, by the time it's all done, have taught you some data structures and some algorithms. But what I'm not going to do, and I never do in any class that I teach, is try to cover the whole field and try to do the thing that's going to get you that job at Google. And that goes to Joan's comment of how does one rate programmers? And the thing is I don't rate programmers the way Google, Amazon, or Microsoft rates programmers. And I insert many swear words here. I hate the way that they rate programmers. I hate the way that they treat you when they try to hire you. I hate all that. And the best programmers I know would not be hired at Google. And the people that are in my ranking as the top programmers are more real-world problem solvers, which is such a different than the kind of stupid things that Google and Amazon and Facebook run you through to kind of prove that you're like a wizard. And the answer is you might be a wizard, but you're useless as a professional programmer. Now, if you're smart enough to pass those things, they know in a year or two you're going to be a good professional programmer, but they have to spend a year teaching you. And I don't want to teach you the interview. I want to teach you to be a good programmer. And you don't need as much information to be a good programmer as you do, or you don't need as much skill and knowledge to be a good programmer as you do to pass a Google entrance exam. I could not pass a Google entrance exam. I will never work for Google. I will never work for Facebook. I just tell them to bite me. Now I'm sure, you know, at my age they wouldn't make me do the programming exam because they think I'm cool enough and stuff, but that's okay. So on to this topic of today. So that's all pre-talk. So now I am going to begin writing React. Okay? So most of what I want to talk about now is React. And so let's go to, let's get some more of these things. Repositories. So what I am building is I'm trying to build a Tsugi tool that works in my little environment, like this discussions tool. This discussions tool is written in PHP. I want to make it so I can write this discussion tool, any tool that I can write in React. And so what I've got here is I've started with this thing called Patternfly. And this comes from Red Hat. And so it's when you're deciding on a way to write applications, you end up with sort of your core programming technologies, and then you end up with your look and feel technology. And so if you look at Tsugi, the look and feel of Tsugi comes from Bootstrap 3, and the programming is a combination of jQuery in the browser and PHP in the backend. And so my new application, I don't want to use Bootstrap 4. I actually don't like Bootstrap 4. It's sort of like, it's between a rock and a hard place. And the UI layer that I want to use, if I possibly can, is this thing called Patternfly. And there's a couple of reasons that I like Patternfly so well. One is it's obsessed with accessibility, and it makes it so you can test your accessibility. And it has components. And here's how I decide if I'm going to use a UI library. One of the more important user interface elements, I think, in teaching and learning is a sorted list, an orderable list. So when someone told me use shoelace, and I'm like, does it have this thing right here? And what I mean is, so if you imagine these lessons or this discussion, I want to be able to drag this up and down. Or if there's a lessons, now there's only one lesson here. If I go to Pi-Free and look at the lessons, in editing this, I want to be able to drag these. I want to reorder these things with a draggy thing, right? And so if I have to build that draggy thing, and even worse, I have to make it accessible, making a draggy thing that's accessible is really crazy. But here we go. This is a thing. You can see they're moving around. This is a draggy thing that comes from Patternfly, and all I have to do is write some markup. That markup looks hard, but really it's just a for loop. It's showing you a lot of markup, data list item cells, or whatever. That'll be simpler, okay, because they're putting it all there. So I like this Patternfly thing, and the other thing I like about Patternfly is that it has dark mode, and it has, somewhere they should say it, some theming. Guidelines, UX writing, there's theming in here. Do they have a search box? I understand why they don't talk more about theming. Okay. But theming is a cool thing. And so, yeah, global CSS variables is the reason that I love Patternfly. And so I teach a class and I talk about CSS. Oh, I got coffee. I definitely have coffee. It's 9:30 in Michigan right now. And so global CSS variables are a feature that's relatively recent, and it has become the substitute for the need for Sass. The problem with Sass is it requires like a server-based process to generate all the CSS, because you're putting something like the color blue in 49 places. And in Sass, you have one file called main color is blue, and then you just have all other files that say main color, main color, main color, and then you run the Sass process to stick the actual blue in all those places. Well, with global CSS, you have this variable called -- main color, and then you just reference it all over the place. But what's cool is the browser's doing this, transmitting of the actual color to -- main color. And so this is super awesome, right? And I absolutely love it. Sakai and Sugi are both using global CSS variables. It's why I think these plays. And so this is why I now can go and say, oh, my stuff, I want it to be dark mode. Bam, right? Or things like automatically pick a color, and then bam, that color has been picked. And that's just like one CSS variable at the top, and then my whole UI changes colors. And so this is my automated color picker for theming. So it's not always the best theme, but what it's really trying to do is spread out a series of colors and accents, and make the accessibility work, right? So that there's the right amount of whatever this color is. It's in the palette of blue, but it is kind of It is a bluish thing, but it's got enough contrast between this bluish background. Well, that might be a black background for all I know. But the point is, back to Patternfly. Back to Patternfly. Patternfly believes in global CSS variables and doesn't make me learn SCSS or SAS, or not SCSS. That's from 30 years ago, or SCCS. So the point is that I love Patternfly. So that's why the code that I'm working with is called Patternfly C. So I got a bunch of code working, and this is a React application. CD dev, CD pattern, seed. I think I say npm run start dev. So here we are with my application starting up. This is my React application that you can get from github.com Patternfly C. You got to do an npm install before you get it. But now I'm doing an npm start dev. It takes a little while to start. First time, okay, something's happening. Yay, there we go. So you see, I got Patternfly. I mean, I made some progress in the last couple of days. I got some Patternfly. So, like, I had this button. And so, I wish that would just go away. So it's all working. It wants to be wider. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. I'll just make it smaller. I wish I could make it larger. Maybe I can change where it sort of hides this. So support, dashboard, report, settings, general, profile. Okay. So this is cool. I got this working. And if I take a look at the code, it's bigger. If I take a look at the code, there is let's go to source. It's too long. I find it's going to take too long. Okay, so here's the support. So if I find this welcome tag, so I started with all this. So I started with all this. Started with all this stuff here, and I got this welcome name equals Chuck. I hope I got some React experts that are going to help me soon, because I'm about to run into a thing that pisses me off and broke. Right? So I have this tag welcome, and then if you take a look. Oh no, that's where's the import? Sugi. This welcome tag is in Sugi. So I'm making a welcome. And so what I'm really doing is, if you look at how Sugi works, like there's always this Sugi widget that makes everything look the same, right? If you look at the tools that are in this, you can look in the Python autograder and you can run the Python autograder, and it has this same kind of settings dialog. And if you switch to a different, if you look at the peer grading Dropbox, it looks the same. So I want some Sugi menuing stuff so that when you write a React widget, the stuff looks like I want it to look like. And so they all look the same. Now, this is not how I want it. I want it to, because Sugi tools are designed to be in a frame or in a window by themselves, so they generally use only top nav. And so this is just from my React seed that I got from Patternfly. Okay, so if you go into this settings, which one is it in profile? I think it's in profile. Oh, no, it's in support, right. So this line right there, hello Chuck, comes because I made a React component called hello Chuck. And then I imported it from that file, and then I added a tag, welcome, name equals Chuck. Works great, doesn't it? But I don't want to have to put all the Sugi code in every Sugi application. So what I want to do is I want to create a package. And so if you look at my packages, I now have a package called Sugi React. And I made this package. Okay. And that Sugi React is in GitHub. It's right here. And it's also right here on my hard drive. Is it 2SX? Go to source. You want to say, boom. Okay, so I made all this stuff, and I went into I followed you know, what we do. I just followed this thing I found from this guy, and I just followed this web page and sort of did what I thought, you know, followed everything. Ooh, what's this props? It says props there. Did I not do the props? Are the props important? Well, that's what happens when you sleep on something and drink a cup of coffee. Okay. Oh no, this is const. Well, I wish I understood. This is probably like TypeScript versus JavaScript, which just, I don't know what the difference of those things is. This is one of those things like, you know, you think, I should know the difference between TypeScript and JavaScript. All I know is it's annoying. When I understand it, it won't stop being annoying, but it is annoying. I don't understand it. So I think this might be native JavaScript versus TypeScript. So we shall see. Okay. So here we are in Sugi React. And so I have this file, Sugi welcome, JSX. So this is how I am making my thing. Theirs looks very different than mine. So maybe what I need to do, I'm going to do another one. I'm going to make another one. This is a JS file. Is this a JS file? Yeah, okay. It's a JS file. So I'm looking at this, like the pattern of I think this right now is the kind of, is this the difference between ES6 or TypeScript or whatever you people, but it doesn't matter. So I think this is going to do it. I have no idea. So I am going to And then I got to do find index.js. No, find live index.js. I'm going to make two components. One is kind of using one variation of it. And then I think I have to add, yeah, I have .js. Where am I? Index. Now I think I can run this in this folder in my, what I hope to be my library, but I have this application that's also in my library folder. So I think I can say npm run start. This one's, oh crap, I bet I got it. No. Where is this? Blow that one up so that I don't end up with actually I think this one runs on 3000, so maybe I can have both running at the same time. Okay, what just happened? Unexpected token. Oh, I got a syntax there. What did I do? Oh, I think there's a semicolon there. Sugi's app is not exported. Oh, I bet. Let's go back to this. Let's go default. Badge. Const. What do we got from React? That doesn't look good. Oh man. See, I can't make it work here. I'm not gonna like send it into NPM if I can't make it work here, because that's not good. So what is Sugi's app here? Why is that not here? Well, let's do what all programmers do. Just Google that. Is there something I'm supposed to do that not got curly braces? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Oops. Whoa, that works better. That worked better. Whoa, whoa. Well, that was a quite nice little Stack Overflow help. What the heck is the difference? What the heck is the difference? Okay, so we got to change the change. Edit this file. Well, that's interesting. Do I not need curly braces there at all? So let's just see if I can get rid of these curly braces. See, I mean, this is like what a beginner does. I do not like, what the heck are those curly braces for? And so I'm gonna, oh. Well, that's interesting. So for that style of export, so that, again, someone can tell me, no one here knows React. Yeah, cool guys use Vim, that's for sure. So this, so there's a curly brace around that one. And then this one is over here. Yeah. Better put a curly brace back in this one, because it ain't the same. So somehow this is the old, I'm guessing this is older syntax, and I'm guessing this is new syntax. I wish someone here would tell me why this does what it does, but I'm gonna guess that if that works. Okay, before I make an NPM, some stuff here. I should take coming. Come on, yay! Okay. Okay. So that feels good. So now the thing I gotta do is npm run build. That's what I do. Yeah. So that created this file dist. So there's this file dist right now. Oops. And so let's just take a look at this. So this compiler compiled all these things into what NPM wants. I can say, so they're all JavaScript now. So we got Sugi Zap and Sugi Welcome. Okay, so that one's Sugi Welcome. Let's do this. So these two things, as a result of Babel, look quite different. So maybe one will work and one won't. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing before I publish this. I am going to check the dependencies. Maybe I can check the dependencies too. This. No idea if that's important or not, but I needed it in the other one, so I'll just add it here while I have it. Okay, Babel, polyfill. Okay. What version of React am I looking for here? React 1702, that's feeling good. So I just kind of want to make sure that I don't have a version conflict. That's okay, I don't need that. It's left side is my library, right side. That, RJS. So that feels pretty good, pretty good. So I'm gonna have to update the version here. This version go up pretty damn fast. Git status, let's just see. Sure I don't lose this guy. So XAMPP. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I should be able to say npm publish. Okay, so that upload, that from my library uploaded a new version. So you'll see that the version here in npm is now 0.13. And now I'll go over to my actual this application. Okay, I need another tab here. Package.json. Oh, he's already editing this. Oh, I know I'm editing it. I'm editing it over. Where am I editing? Oh, here we go. That was in another window, and so now I can edit package.json in this window. And I gotta say, Sugi is now going to be pushed up version 0.1.3. And I have to say npm install, which will give me a chance to drink a cup of coffee, because it takes a second. The only thing I'm downloading now is I'm downloading the 1.3 version of Sugi React. I wish there was a shortcut way that I could just kind of edit it in this one folder over here, edit it, and then have it just kind of be pulled in over here, but I don't want to figure that out right now, so I'm going through NPM and wasting a bunch of versions. So there you go. There's some errors in this thing. I don't even know what they are, but it works. Mostly I bet it's because I'm running on a Macintosh, not Linux. Life is better on Linux. Except I can't edit video on Linux. So let's see. thinking of applying for MADS at University of Michigan, thank you. Good luck. I'll just tell you, if you're thinking of applying for MADS, the earlier you apply, the better off you are. I would say that Pi 4E is not enough preparation for MADS. You really want to take the Pi 3. You should take. Oh no, I'm in the wrong thing. I was typing and thought I was typing in the chat. Dr. Chuck becomes a streamer. You know, I wasn't going to become a streamer for coding, but then what I realized is I can become a streamer for coding and ask you guys to help me. Now, so far, no one on the stream knows enough React to help me, because most of the people that know me are not React experts. And so, well, coding on Linux is better. No, the library environment is better, so that when, like, my dumb Macintosh has, when you type Python, it's Python 2, right? And I got to type Python 3 all the time. There's just, like if I run Apache, I've got to run a special copy of Apache on my Mac, because there's already an Apache that Mac uses for its own crazy purposes. And so the problem with Mac is that it just has, it's done things for me the Apple way, which are different than the Linux way. So, but I do not like the idea of, like, being on an airplane and having to change device drivers because the damn Wi-Fi is not working. So I only used Linux a long time ago. I use Linux on all the servers, and I love Linux because everything is consistent and it works the same way. Okay, so what did I just do? I just did an npm install, and well, what the heck? Let's just try to run this and see how bad it loads up. npm run start :dev. Talk to me. So this should work. This should work, because I haven't done the thing that causes it to blow up. Home. Okay, so it's the support page. Hello, Chuck. That's what we're trying to see. Okay, so now what we're going to do. So now what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to break, right? And so this Sugi welcome, you can see that find node modules -name Sugi star. This will take a while. But so all that npm stuff, all that npm install and npm publish and all that stuff conspired so that these two files are now sitting in my node modules of the pattern of my actual application. So I'm trying to get to the point. That was the exact file that was in the dist. Work. Right. All right. Oh, it's there. So I don't know why there's a PI there now. Okay, so we got these things here. So now I can go like this. So I can import Sugi welcome from Sugi React, and I've done that, and it still works, right? But then, if I change this tag to Sugi welcome, wait a second. Wait just a second. Is there a way to stop? You really want to stop the music? I can stop the music. No music. There's music. Oh, what just happened? What just happened? What just happened? Oh. What's happening? Okay, it's still working. Something stopped. I guess I gotta go to over here so that I can see the chat. Something happened with the chat. Got it. And pop out chat. There we go. Wow, I stopped the music. I am back. I stopped the music and something like seemed like it messed up. So, whew. Okay. We're good. Don't mess anything up, Chuck. Okay, so let's go back to the stream. Worked. It wasn't working last night. Why did it work? I don't really care so much if it did or didn't work. Well, let's blow it up. Let's blow it up and run it again and make sure. Okay, cup of coffee. So last night, before I went to bed, that wasn't working. And my goal today was to figure out how to make that work. And my goal today was to get help from you so that it would work. So it would just, instead of saying hello, Chuck, it would say Sugi says hello, because that means that I have now got it so that the library Sugi React is up in NPM. Sorry, Sugi React. So I can build a tag in my library, this library now. Sugi React has a tag in it called Sugi Welcome. Oh, I haven't get pushed it yet. That's good. I'm going to do a get diff. See, did I change anything? Did I change anything important? I don't know. Don't know. So that Sugi Welcome is now being pulled into this, which is my application, which means I can begin to create Sugi. I wanted to merge Sugi code into Sugi tool code. So this patternfly seed is like my prototype of Sugi tool code. Sugi React is the prototype of my what would then be Sugi PHP. Right. So I've got this library called Sugi PHP, which is all of the library code that makes it so all the Sugi applications look the same, and it's part of the dependency in Sugi itself. So Sugi PHP is a dependency in the Sugi application. Sugi is kind of a web application. Sugi PHP is a set of libraries. So, and then a tool is its own thing. But I can now start thinking about what I want to do in that library, because the library works. It wasn't working last night, but I don't believe I did anything different. So let's just go take a quick look over here, because I get diff. Now, interestingly, I added core.js. I don't know. That'd be interesting if that's what did it. Oh, now that's interesting. That curly brace. Oh, that's different. You know, when you're learning something new, like what the hell do those curly braces mean? Someone should tell me that. So that actually is different. And this index.js thing, according to my mentor, this guy, my web page that I'm following, that index.js, this index.js is the kind of the what belongs in the distribution. And so you're noticing that, wow. So this is the old style, and you'll notice this in index.js. You'll notice my old style, Sugi Zap, and my new style, Sugi Welcome, look different in here. And that's really, I bet that's like way important, super important. Okay, let's do one more experiment before I declare too much victory. Oh, wait. Oh, no, this is the other app. This is the other app. I'm going to go into support. So Sugi Welcome is starting. Oh, yeah, now I'm going to have to say, now we're going to play with this. So we're going to see if Sugi Zap. I mean, I'm successful. Sugi Welcome came from Sugi React. So we're going to import Sugi Zap, but let's get over here, because as soon as I hit save here, this thing is going to refresh and kind of lose its mind if necessary. So the import might screw up. Come back. The import did not screw up. That doesn't mean it's going to work. We'll see if it works when I put this new tag here. Because if I can make this work, that means that I've got proper syntax. Holy crap! Holy mackerel! Holy mackerel! They both work. So now I have the old. I think this is the new way of making a widget, and this is the old way of making the widget. And they both work. Not only do they, I mean, the props come in, right? So you see the chuck there? Ooh. I think the thing that did it was this. These two changes. I think that index has got, that index is kind of importing and re-exporting. So if you take a look, well, it's right here. It's sort of normalizing the old syntax and the new syntax somehow. Whatever. I wish someone was smart enough to explain to me what the damn new syntax was and the damn old syntax was, and which one was cooler. I'm going to guess that the new syntax is cooler, right? So it's got the word class in it, so that has to be cool, right? That has to be like more ES6. And this thing, I started by saying like I'm not the smartest programmer I know. I got 40 friends that are super smart. They know this stuff, and if they were just watching on my stream, they'd be, Chuck, that's ES6. I'm like, well, what is ES6? I mean, like, oh, okay. So, okay. So I can't think of any more questions. Let me check my chat window. Where's the chat? Yeah. Okay. Oh, Servesh, you got a new pull request? CC free? I got a pull request. Let's take a check, see what Servesh is working on. Wow. Wow. You're learning PHP, Servesh. What happened? Did I miss an M dash? I mean, I can do other streams. I mean, the problem is I don't have hours and hours and hours to just sort of do basic streams. This stream right here, what I'm streaming right now, Servesh, this is what I was going to be doing this morning. I was going to be, from 9 to 10:30 today, I was going to, so Constantini, you think I should add the parenthesis to Sugi Zap? Or is that, you think that's what fixed it? Because I think what happens is that in this index.js, JS. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but this is old syntax and new syntax, but then it's exporting them as new syntax right here. And it might have to do with the fact that maybe there's a different syntax here, but I don't think I want to put a curly brace there, because when I put a curly brace there, that didn't work when I did it in here. So when I put that curly brace here, this little app that I ran in my library, my test app in my library blew up. So that's why I kind of had it that way. Okay, that's what fixed it. So Constantine, you know React, or you're just guessing, or just agreeing with me? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is git status and git commit. And say there's two changes that could have fixed it. First, working MVP. Git push. And then I'm going to come over here. Whoa, what just happened? What just happened? Oh, I don't know what that means. That's not my stuff. That's your stuff there, NPM and all you NPM people. And then I'm going to do a git diff here. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so you're agreeing with my analysis, which neither of us are particularly informed. We're just like smart people guessing. Git status, git commit. I'm going to say first MVP from the library. Okay. Git push. Let's take a screenshot. And make a tweet. Oh, that was not what I wanted. Oh, don't. Thanks, Twitter. I just got a component from my Sugi React library to work in my pattern. Why? Okay, so I now have done a git push, I've done a tweet, I've done all that stuff. So what I will do now is I will go back to the stream and somehow find my way back to the stream. Okay, so now I can talk to the people on the stream because I'm done done coding. I'm gonna sign off in a bit because I'm starting to run low on coffee. But now I can just talk stream talk. So hi there. You're working as QA tester, Simona. That is that's really cool. I find that when I'm talking about getting people a first job, and I probably ought to write a Quora article about this. When I'm getting people to come into my project Sakai, it's a very complex project and it's really hard. And QA has turned out to be the way in. And so I need to write a Quora article about that, Simona, that QA is the way in. And I do talk about in my other articles about how important it is to get in the company that you like and don't worry about the job. Hey, Stefan. And so what you've done, Simona, is you're in the biz. You're learning every day. QA, everyone thinks QA is like boring. No, QA is a really intellectually stimulating thing because you're struggling, and especially if things break, you're struggling to explain it to people like me in a way that I can fix it, right? And so QA is a very, very important part, and it's a great way into the business. So I was talking, Sarvesh, about oh, Sarvesh, I forgot. We got to merge your pull request. GitHub, boom. Let's go in. Go to CC Free. Let's review a pull request from Sarvesh. Sarvesh, I was stalking you, Sarvesh. Are you a professor of mechanical engineering or something? Is that what? I mean, I looked. I was Googling you and trying to find you because you've been putting so much cool stuff in on here. So, covered reverb, fixed a lot of change in chapter 2. You apply the 35s, 2 commits. You only changed 2 files. Oh, okay, so it's easier to look at it this way. See, Sarvesh, this is how fast I look at your stuff. Oh, you are. So I misunderstood. So I found someone else who's like a professor. I figured that you were a professor. How are you rocking C at 13? So these are all, for everyone else watching, these are Sarvesh's changes to the CC free book, right? So this is, he's working right now on chapter 2, and Sarvesh, I think, is the second leading contributor after me to this whole website. He's like obsessed with making the book better. Yeah, so like, and what the problem was is this thing was OCR'd, optical character recognized. I scanned the book. As a matter of fact, I can show you. I bought a copy of the book. This is C Programming for Everybody. You can hardly see it because my video is small. And I cut the back of it off, and I then sheet fed it through a very high quality scanner, and then we OCR'd it, and then we OCR produced a Word document, and then I converted the Word document to Markdown, and then I converted the Word document to Markdown, and then this is what we're starting with, and it's code, and it's C, so it has a, yeah. No, I saw your privacy PHP thing. I think that you just changed the date, and you know me, and you know that I'm like always in a hurry, and I always screw things up. Yeah, of course. I screwed that up. That's fine. Of course you're right. You have worked on my stuff well enough, Sarvesh, that you know that I am always in such a hurry to do everything that I mess up little things, and so I greatly appreciate all the work. So without further ado, let's merge Sarvesh's pull request. First, we have to say thank you. Merged live on a stream. Merge. I don't usually spend this much time, Sarvesh. on your commits. Mostly what I'm looking at when I see a commit is I look, see how many files did you change, and I get a little nervous when you change a lot of files in one pull request. Not that I don't want you to change a lot of files, but I like pull requests that are touching just one or two files, and that's because I have a grad student Yashawini. She's also, if you look in here, so if you look at the contributors, you see me and Sarvesh and Yasha, and she's working for me as a grad student. She was a teaching assistant at the University of Michigan, and she just graduated, and so for the summer she's helping me go through the book. She's got an undergrad in computer science, and so it's super really helpful. And we got a couple other people. We got I think he's from Russia, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. And then Stephen is one of my teaching assistants in, I think he runs all of my courses on FutureLearn. I think that's what he is. And so Stephen is always working on stuff. And I got such great teaching assistants in my courses, Stephen and Mahela and Sue and Tamara and now Sean, in all of my courses. They make those teaching assistants make it possible for me to build new courses, because if I was spending all my time working on the old courses and supporting the students in the old courses, I would never have chances to never have a chance. So what happens, Sarvesh? I don't know if you have figured this out. This website, like every 30 minutes, doesn't get full, and so I don't have to manually do anything. I can try to force it. I don't know if my VPN is right or not. Yeah, so I can manually force it. Okay, so usually this process that I just did runs, what the hell that is. So that process just updated the book, so if I hit refresh over here, your changes are now live. But literally, you do a pull request, I merge it, and we wait 30 minutes, and it's there. I don't hand upgrade anything. I'm a big fan of running master/main, and like if you break it, then fix it, right? And you kind of understand that philosophy of if you break it, then fix it. So MMD, any new courses coming up? Absolutely. Sarvesh is working on them, on the course. And it's C programming for everybody, and it's going to be an amazing course. It is based on the book from a 1978 book from Kernighan and Ritchie, Brian Kernighan and Dennis Ritchie, that, in my opinion, and so it's almost as much a history course as it is a course on how to program in C. The C programming language is something that probably way less than 1% of my work has been in C. Probably less than 1/10 of 1% of my life work has been in C. But C is the most important and influential language that's ever. And let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find something here for you. Talk a little bit about C. I don't know if this is it. That was it. I was pretty quick to it. Okay. So the reason Hi Shicker. So the reason that I'm picking C is, and those of you who have seen a couple of my classes often have seen this thing that I take from the School of Rock, when Jack Black is showing you the history of rock and roll and how everyone was in the Doors before they were formed other programming, other things. But in the early days, right? We wrote in assembly because computers had so little memory and they were so slow that every single instruction mattered. And then for computations like weather simulations or army simulations, we decided that doing math in assembly was untenable, and so we built a language called Fortran. Came out in 1955, and there's a couple of other ones. And what happened was, you still had to write high performance things in assembly language. You do calculations in Fortran, but do almost everything else, you went back to assembly. And then in 1972, C came out, which was, there's a whole set of languages that come up to C. There's a thing called B and a thing called BC, but C is this language that was really designed to become a portable assembly language, and it was designed to be small, so it could run on the computers that were from the 60s and the computers that were coming out in the 70s and then eventually in the 80s. So computers from the 60s to the 80s were greatly improving in speed, capabilities. Things like floating point calculations in the 60s were done in software, not hardware. And so the idea was that C would be the new assembly language, and it was. And C has this curly brace syntax, right? It has this curly brace syntax, right? It's got this what C looks like, and so C invented this and had this if, and it was really a minimal language. There was no, like, printf is a function. It's not really and so if you look from Python 2 to Python 3, print went from a language element to a function. So the print didn't have parentheses in Python 2, but does have parentheses in Python 3. And that's just a philosophical thing that's very important, because it really keeps the language small and lets the extensions be the extensions. But then what happened was C accomplished a couple things. It really created a syntax for almost all modern languages: C++, Objective-C, Java, JavaScript, C# from Microsoft. And so these are all kind of emotional derivatives that pay deep homage back to the C language, with the curly braces, for loops, if tests, all that stuff. But then C also allowed us to create things like Perl, and then Python, and then PHP. And so you'll notice that the classes that I've taught, I've taught these in the order of ease of learning and ease of use. So the classes I tend to teach that I've taught so far start with Python, and I teach PHP, and I teach JavaScript. And so on this picture, the three things I do, and this doesn't have web technology in it, so we're talking about HTML and CSS and jQuery and stuff like that. But the languages that I've taught are these. And PHP has a C-style syntax, JavaScript has a C-style syntax, but Python does not. But Python is written in C, so C made Python possible. Without C, we would have no Python. So what Guido van Rossum did when he wrote Python in 1991 was he wrote a C program and he called it Python. And now we type Python code into the Python program. And so operating systems are written in it, languages are written in it, PHP is written in C, JavaScript's written in C, Java is written in C, right? And so Java is its own language, but it has this runtime and a compiler, and parts of Java are written in C, meaning that C is the kind of the mother of all of this, right? It all, one way or another, inherits, one way or another, it inherits from C. These other things depend on C and could not have happened. If we did all these things back to assembly, we would never have the rich ecosystem of languages and libraries that we have today. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach this C class as a historical moment. It is a historical moment where the world changed forever. Okay, so there's the before and the after. So I will probably move this like this. I'm going to start talking about the C thing. Oops, I don't want that. I don't know what that is. All that kind. So the point is there's kind of like this moment. There's this moment, right? BC and AC, before C and after C. And all of computing changed the moment C was created. And the thing is that this book is what triggered it, right? I had learned by the time I saw this book, I already knew probably 6 or 7 programming languages, but they were not unifying. They each did their thing, but there wasn't like a grand unification, right, of all programming languages. And this became, everything that came before C was, for all intents and purposes, obsolete after C, although Fortran still is quite active. COBOL is too. The languages haven't gone away, but they've been rewritten in C. And so I wanna spend more time talking about the historical elements of this. And so if you look at the book that I am building, and Sarvesh is helping me write. Sarvesh is fixing all the typos in it. You'll see things like this little call out right here. This call out is me talking, right? Because the book, we are being very careful to follow the book, except where we're absolutely forced to change it. Literally, not where it's a historical artifact. I want to respect the historical artifact. So you can see that we have the actual thing, so you can see what it was, but then what we do is I annotate it with these little blue boxes. On modern systems, we use the GCC compiler to accept the legacy syntax of C. And so you'll see that I have to have commentary on it because it's just completely wrong, right? I mean, this stuff here is like the 70s. This is my voice. The 70s was a time of transition in the amount of memory installed in computers. I mean, I already said kind of this stuff, right? And so this course is going to be looking at this textbook, this Kernighan and Ritchie textbook, as its place in history that literally changed everything, and we wouldn't be here. YouTube wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this book, right? Now that doesn't mean that someone else might have come up with something else that transformed in the same way that C transformed it, but it didn't matter. C is the one. C is the one that did the transformation. And so we're going to teach this class looking at its tradition and its place in history. And we got all kinds of cool stuff, like you can actually run it, take these code things, send some data in, and run it. Right? So that was a little code to count the number of lines by looking for new lines. So it's pretty awesome. So that's the next book. And then next class. And so after that, I'm actually going to teach a Java class. So I'm going to teach C, but I'm going to teach Java. And then I'm actually going to, in between C and Java, I'm going to teach a hardware class, because once you see C and you learn about data structures in C, you see how, like what we do with strings in Python is so intricate and complex, and you don't even, well, no, what Python does with strings is amazing. And if you look at C strings and compare to Python strings, you're like, whoa, it's so crude in C. And so then you say, well, but C is doing what the hardware is really doing, and Python is using a very complex library to make strings effective. So is PHP, and so is JavaScript. They all have extremely complex libraries just to do something as simple as concatenating two strings together. Java, JavaScript, PHP, we'll look at that and say the things we take for granted in these languages and use them every fourth line are actually really complex things that they're not solved in C, but part of computer science is building those libraries so that you can solve them. If you know Java, things like garbage collection, PHP thankfully doesn't require garbage collection, JavaScript does run out of memory. So all these things have memory issues because of things like even as simple as how we use strings. If we do that too much in the wrong pattern, we can run our computers out of memory. And you can't really understand that until you understand C and then how C talks to the hardware. Now here's just a little tiny thing. Let's see if I can show you this. If you run my code and you do a view source, let's see if I can show it to you. So if you do view source, yeah. If you do a view source, and this will be in a later class, So right here, this is your code written in machine language, in assembly language. And so actually what happens when I'm running your code is the first thing I do is I run it and translate it to machine language. So this is actually Intel 8086 machine language. These are, each one of these, move Q is a command to the actual Intel processor. And so this is for me to debug what you're doing, but you can see it. And so there will be a class in which this bit will become what we talk about. We're going to talk about hardware and programming the hardware directly in assembly language and machine language. Machine language is simply directly converting each one of these things to a 16 or 32-bit set of zeros and ones. And so an assembler takes something like this, but this is exactly one-to-one correspondence with machine language instructions generally. And so in between C and Java, we'll talk about how hardware really works and then how C is translated in a way to use hardware. And for those of you with a computer science background, you're like, whoa, that's a lot of work. I'm going to keep it simple like I always do. I'm going to keep it simple. I want to make it so everyone can understand it and everyone can understand hardware architecture. And then I can move on to Java. And the reason I want to move on to Java, I want to teach you C before Java, is I need to be able to explain some of the challenges that you face in Java and why you can't just write the code the way you instinctively think, oh, I can do it. Part of what I do in Python for everybody is I try not to over-teach too much information. I don't want you to get too confused about things, and so I don't explain exactly what's happening, and we use things that are blissfully magic in Python, and I don't bother explaining the magic. But by the time you're going to write a 1 million line program, you can't just say, oh, it's blissfully magic, because if you do, your 1 million line program for 1 million users is not going to run very well. And so you got to, at some point, to become a professional, you got to like stop pretending that, yeah. And Servesh should say a Git class would be good. Yeah, if I knew how to use it. I mean, I actually am getting slightly better for it, and I do like making things simple. And so I'll do a React class, but only after C, machine language, and Java, and then React will come after that. And the reason is that I'm trying to get to the point where my students can get jobs as programmers. If you've seen some of my other streams, I 6 months ago, because I have a company and I would like to hire programmers, 6 months ago, I was like, would I be able to hire my own students as my employees? Hi, Itibar. Could I hire my own students as my own employees? And the answer is no. You could take every one of my classes and you're not ready to work for me as a programmer. And so I took that as a challenge, right? I said to myself, okay, if the four things, Python, Django, web applications, and Postgres are not enough for you to work for me, then I should probably decide that I'm going to spend the rest of my teaching career preparing courses that will make it so that I would hire you when it's done, when you're done with all my courses. So you can think of all my courses almost as a degree in programming. Not a degree in computer science, but a degree in professional programming. And so actually you might ask, no one's asked yet, where's C++ fit? C++ is actually the very, very last class. Yeah, Clamato 422, you're absolutely right. If I'm not ready to hire you, then what did I do wrong? Or how can I do better? And so, yeah, so. Okay, well, I'm getting ready to sign off here because I'm out of coffee and you can hear my voice starting to crack for lack of coffee. So I should probably sign off. Does anybody have any last real quick questions? Oh, you know how to make me happy, Shrieker. You know, and your point, I took Python for Everybody in web application 2 years ago, and I'm a freelance web developer and use Python for algorithmic trading. I do know, like you, that people have gotten jobs based on just taking my classes. but I would bet, and you can answer me, Shrieker, I bet you did a bunch of work in addition to my classes, and my classes were what made it so you could do that other work, but you did a lot of work, and then you had to follow your own path from beginning programming and confidence to actually skill and being employable. And I want to be part of. I want to take you further. I want to take you to the point where you can say, I just finished your enterprise applications class, Chuck, and I got a job the next day, right? Because I don't want to make it be your problem to finish your training. I want to be with you all the way. So 2020 comedy, how can you enroll in those classes? So you can enroll, so you could start here. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Here, let me bring this chat up. I should just bring the chat up. Bang, there we go. Bring the chat up. So, how do you enroll in the courses? Well, so I have these websites. You can go to online.drchuck.com, and you can either go to our University of Michigan link, or you can go to these free on the web links. And you see that I make a free website for all my courses. So the order that I would take them is Python for everybody, Py for E, Django for everybody, DJ for E, web applications for everybody, also known as PHP and MySQL for everybody, and then Postgres for everybody. And then the next one that's coming down that path is C programming for everybody. And so the idea is I'm building a curriculum that you take in order, and eventually there will be more tabs. Java for everybody, well, actually hardware for everybody, Java for everybody, enterprise applications for everybody. And by the way, these things take a long time. So it takes me a long time to build a course. It will probably take me a year to finish building CC for E. You'll see it's only got one lesson. You see that Python for everybody has lots of lessons. And so, there's a lot of work to CC for E. He's in high school. Where? What country? What city? Is he taking Py for E himself, or is his teacher teaching him Py for E? Yeah, so we agree. Many times it seems like too much work, but once I was able to write code, I could learn more, right? And I say that at the very beginning of Python for everybody. Yeah, so after Py for E, if you just want to learn everything, I would say DJ for E is really good. Even if you never write a Django application, it will strengthen your Python skills. If you want to build web applications, you should take web applications for everybody. If you want to go straight to data science, you can switch it. You can go Python to Postgres. And there's nothing in either DJ for E or WA for E that requires right. So you can either go Python for everybody, Postgres for everybody, and then maybe R or some other things to go into data mining, right? That's one curriculum. The other is web applications, where you go to Python to Django. I mean, Postgres will make you a better programmer. SQL is a part of everything we do. It's part of all web applications. Even if you don't use Postgres, this course is really useful because it's really an SQL course. It's an advanced SQL course. If you look at the lessons in Postgres, it talks about database architectures and NoSQL and all kinds of interesting things. So it's a really good class. I would say by default, I would think that you'd be best off going Python for everybody, Django for everybody, and then either Postgres and then web app. So this is a PHP class, and even if you never run PHP, it's kind of like machine language. PHP is like the machine language of web applications. It is harder to write an application in PHP than it is in Django, but when you're done, the PHP applications are more performant. And so that's why PHP has a place, because you think about efficiency, you think about what's happening. In Django, you're trying to build something as fast as possible. So a lot of people build their first application in Django, first version of an application in Django, and then rewrite it in something faster. And so Django's is hard to make go super fast, but it is easy to make a cool application. And so the applications in Django are way more sophisticated than the applications I teach you, but I'm teaching you more the low-level truth of what's going on. Yeah, and so 2020 comedy, I will be awaiting your Java course because I still struggle with the concept of OOP in Java. Honestly, object-oriented programming is the essence of professional programming. It has little to do with Java or not. When I think about the things that I am most skilled at, it's really how objects are used. And the problem is that if you take an object-oriented programming class in computer science, chances are good that your professor has never written code more than 10,000 lines. Chances are that your professor has never actually used objects the way we do as professional programmers. So professors and professional programmers, hi Scooby, professors and professional programmers, I should probably come up with a way. Let me see if I can come up with a way to make a bigger picture. Whoa, what's wrong with my... There we go. Hang on a second. There we go. So I just transitioned my to a bigger image of me because I don't need to be sort of in the lower corner all the time now that we're just chatting. So let's do this. There we go. Yeah, I'm learning Docker. I use Docker. I like Docker. Docker's a good tool. Kubernetes confuses me a bit. So Sarvesh, the entire compiling infrastructure for CC4E is a Docker because I have to isolate your code, and so your compiles run in little tiny Docker containers so that you can't write evil C code. So back to 2020 comedy. Object-oriented programming. The way we use object-oriented programming in the real world of an application that lives more than a year is we use it in so many ways that your typical computer science professor just never will understand. And so I need to teach you in the context of a very, very complex application. And so you can see that this application is super complex and how we use it. And that way you actually can see how code works, see how you can look at a million lines of code and focus on 2,000 and work on something without knowing the rest of it. Object-oriented programming does allow us to do that, and so that's why it's hard to work on enterprise applications. So, yeah, computers. Yeah, I go on a whole bunch on Quora about how computer science is in an unfortunate death embrace with the top tech employers, because the top tech employers, all they can do is evaluate you based on the stuff computer science teaches you, which is not all that useful. It's great base knowledge, but it's not useful to employers. So the things they teach you in college are almost never useful to employers, but they do teach you the kinds of things so the employers can teach you what the employer wants over the next 12 months.
And so the problem is that because computer science doesn't give you the right skills, employers cannot test for the right skills. They test for the wrong skills and then teach you the right skills. But if computer science changes and they stop teaching you the interview skills, then companies like Accenture and whatever will just stop. You won't be able to get a job. You'll be ready to work, but they won't test you. Have I tried Haskell? No. No. There's like how many programming languages are there, right? 700. I don't care. I am not looking. I'm not looking for a better language. What I tend to find and what I tend to believe is if Haskell has a good feature, in 2 years, Python will have that feature, JavaScript will have that feature, and PHP will have that feature. And so I don't need to change languages to get that. And one of the more recent, really good examples of that problem has to do with Scala. Scala had this non-procedural programming model, and a whole bunch of hipsters thought it was a really great idea. And so all the hipsters were like, I'm not going to write Java anymore, I'm going to move. And it turns out that Scala was built on top of Java. So you could use all your old Java libraries, and then you did this fancy Scala syntax, right? Oh, foobar. What is your infrastructure for a million? Do I like moussaka? That's food, right? And the answer is yes. I love Greek food. I love Greek food. Don't get it often enough. Um, and yeah, and Scala was beautiful. But what happened is that Java just like looked at Scala and said, "Oh, we're losing all our programmers, so we're going to steal all your ideas and put them in Java." So like the latest version of Java has this whole bunch of syntaxes, which I don't actually like, but all the Java cool people are starting to use it. That's more of a data flow way of thinking, more of a like lambdas. They're more like lambdas in list comprehension in Python. And so in a sense, they're doing lambdas in list comprehension. Lambdas in list comprehension in Java now. And I don't like it. But so that's why Haskell, like if it's got something good, I just wait a few years and all the languages I already know will have it. It's so hard for any language to kind of break into it because we've got such good languages. And JavaScript is, one of the few languages that's growing at this point. My Stack Overflow profile URL, what does that mean? Who am I in Stack Overflow? Oh, yeah. So that's me in Stack Overflow. I've got some juice. I got some good grooviness in Stack Overflow, but I don't quite know what to do with it. I mean, I can make a tag, and I want to make a tag, but I don't want to get yelled at when I make a tag. So with great power comes great responsibility in Stack Overflow. So that's my Stack Overflow. So, okay, well, it's after 11, and I think we've been going for quite some time now. Let's see how long we've been going. Yeah. 56 minutes ago. So I think I'm going to take my leave. Thank you all for coming and the conversation. And oh, by the way, so I do have office hours that some of you have come to. drchuck.com/live. And so I do have another office hours, drchuck.com/live. This is coming from my house, and I really just wanted to work on React and show it to you this morning, and so but this is the office hours that where I just chat and talk about my courses, and so you can wait for this or come to this and 10 days, 22 hours, 53 minutes, and 22 seconds. That's the office hours. That's more like this, where we're just chatting and talking. So, um, so, Sarvesh, hey Sarvesh, if you wouldn't mind, it'd be great if you could send me an email, so I would have your email, so I know who you are. So, okay, I just feel free to send me a personal email so that I can get connected. I was trying to find you on LinkedIn, but I don't think you're on LinkedIn because you're only 13. So, okay, so I'm gonna find out how to stop streaming. I think I do this with OBS. Bye, everybody. Let's go find OBS, and let's fade to whatever.